Alright, so just as an FYI, because I haven't seen this before, this is something new for me. So, O2 Tahoe here, and I was curious why my 4x4 light was blinking. The 4x4 switch was completely toast, so I disconnected this and pushed the wire and housing down over here so I had more room for the front actuator. Now, I get underneath and I start looking around. I start testing out the actuator. It said I had power intermittently, so I was a little concerned. So like I said, I pushed it down, and this is what I ran into right there. So it was rubbing up against the axle, the driver's side CV axle. So now I'm gonna go in, cut these out one by one, and replace them. As you can see, they're really chewed up, you know. So simple solution for what could be a costly, mistake. But here we are. So I've got a different gauge harness from a Trailblazer, from a blower motor that I have. And as you can see, that's no bueno. So I've got, a harness here that I'm going to use. Ends are already spliced over here. And I'm going to use the poor man's tools. I'm going to use some scissors and some other stuff here. But we'll get back to it. Alright, so what I'm literally going to do is go one by one. Sorry about the poor quality of everything, but I'm literally going to go one by one when it comes to replacing them. So we'll get that done and go from there. Alright, so here we are. So literally all I've done, and I didn't replace all four, because this one here, if I can get a good picture of it. So this one here was actually okay. It just needed to be taped up. But they rub against the front axle. So the whole thing here is due diligence, making sure you get the right stuff. Now my 4x4 switch, like I said earlier, was bad. And yeah, this is a poor man's wiring, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reroute this just ever so slightly, because it runs up through here, but that's so close to the axle that I'm not comfortable with it. And I mean, I don't mind it resting around that area, but around the pumpkin, the front diff, which obviously goes over to your actuator here. So I've got some zip ties and some time. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll probably reroute this up through this area instead, away from anything that moves, and I will go from there. As you can see, there's already wire harnesses that go up that direction, so I'm probably just going to zip tie it to that and move it up there. Alright, so there's my beautiful tape job, and I'm going to run this back up. I'm going to zip tie it to various points so I don't have to worry about that shit again, because that's bullshit. And I'd really like to meet the fucking GM engineer who did this, because you're a fucking dickhead. Fucking wrong, bro. Just absolutely fucking wrong. Nobody considers the fact that, people gotta work on this shit. So, taped up to there. I will probably try and wrap most of that. We'll see. I just want to get it above for now, so it's not down here by the axle. Shouldn't be that hard. But, so, set it over here away from the axle. Probably, honestly, once I get this mounted, I'll just tie it up to the frame somewhere. Like that that's a moving part, that's a moving part, that's a moving part, that's a moving part. So moving part, pivot point, or pivot arm, moving part. So I'll probably just honestly zip tie it over here to this guy, if you can see that. So I'll zip tie this over here, and then I'll, because I've got a little extra wire now, I'll pull up the hose and everything, make sure that's not rubbing on nothing, and we'll come back. All right, so as you saw, there we go. So as you saw, you know, I wasn't getting four-wheel drive, but now I am. So sometimes it's worth just checking out the wiring before you do anything else. So if I know it says local, I don't care. So if I back up, just to make sure this is working properly, and I know the lights are a little dim, sorry. Let me get out and close the hood. So I rerouted it just enough so it wasn't touching anything that might move, like steering column or the CV axle down below there. Close that up. Let's see what we got. We're going to make sure it goes into all modes. Oh yeah. So definitely binding on 4 high when I move, which means it's definitely engaged. Let's do 4 auto. Yep, switched. So now I'm going to try and do, while talking to you guys and filming this, we're going to try and make sure that this does what it's supposed to do with 4 low. Not really too worried about 4 low, especially being in Ohio, but here we go. So we're going to put in neutral, 4 low. Might still have a problem with 4 low. Where'd it kick it to? Oh, still flashing. Neutral. As you can see. Oh, there it went. Heard it. There we go. So it went. It's in. It's in 4 low. So let's go ahead and put it back in 2 high. Change this to neutral. Ah, there it is. Clunk, clunk. Hey. So let's stick it in 4 auto and leave it there. I don't mind 4 auto being on. Yeah, see, look at that. There we go. All about the little fixes, right? 4 high. Yeah. Sweet. So it could have been, you know, a $500 fix on my own. I know what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. Not a pro anymore, but you know, that's something that it is what it is. So, you know, always check your wiring. Put it back in 2 high. Look at that. Auto. Sweet. 4 high. Yes. And there we go. So have a good night, everyone.